This unit discusses project management context, the big picture. This is the beginning of Section 1 of the PMBOK Guide, the Project Management Framework. We have chosen to break Chapter 1 and 2 into a series of individual topic videos to keep each topic video to a manageable size for your studying. First, we will cover the basics. These are the topics we will cover in this video. This will establish the context in which projects are created. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Learn this exact definition that PMI uses to define what is a project and what is not a project. Efforts which produce the same results each time they are executed are not projects but operations. The project has a definite beginning and a definite end. If the project drags on and cannot be brought to an end, something is wrong. As you study PMI project management related definitions, you need to learn to recognize them when you see them, rather than having to memorize them to echo back to a question. All answers on the test are multiple choice, which means that if a definition is involved, it will be in the answer list. So recognize them. Repetitive efforts are usually categorized as operations. Key differences in purpose. A project is about change, and operation is about keeping the business going. For example, accounting reports are the result of an operation to produce them. Changes to those reports' format or contents would be considered a project since we are implementing change. Again, learn to recognize these definitions. You may see any one of them as the answer to a question. Application processes produce the product of the project. They achieve the project's technical work. Project management processes are used to manage the work of the project, including the technical work. Process groups are the order in which we do things. They are also considered the domains of project management, another definition to learn. There are 47 defined project management processes. Each project management process is categorized into one of the 5 process groups. You need to know which process group for each process. Progressive elaboration is a fundamental constraint on project management. It is not possible to know everything that will be a factor in a project from the outset. Things require discovery. This takes time. Things change. These are simply facts which constrain what is possible and what is not. As the project progresses, we learn more and more about what we are trying to do. This is fundamental. The term for this discovery is progressive elaboration. PMI talks about 10 knowledge areas involved in managing projects, along with professional and ethical responsibility. PMI project management processes are organized into topics by categorizing them into these 10 knowledge areas. The knowledge areas correspond to chapters 4 through 13 of the guide. We will deal with each knowledge area and each process within those knowledge areas later in the course. The knowledge areas can be viewed as a nonagon, each side corresponding to a knowledge area, with the center representing the area known as integration management. Project management integration can be viewed as the first level of decomposing the PMI processes from the top. This first level has 6 processes, one each top-level process for the 5 process groups, with a 6th, part of monitoring and controlling the project, to act as an overall change control point for the other processes. Reading this diagram, starting with scope and reading clockwise around the edge, we see how progressive elaboration occurs as the project evolves. The knowledge area name is on the outside of the polygon sides, and the documents produced are on the inside. The middle of the diagram is the project management plan. Where do projects come from? They arise in context within an organization due to a strategy the organization is pursuing. They may be a part of a larger effort, such as a program. Looking at all of the projects together so that we may view where we are investing our efforts is known as portfolio management. The hierarchy of these things is as shown. Sub-projects are a portion of a larger project, sometimes separated because they are managed by separate groups of people or parts of the organization. For the test, know the sources of strategic consideration that give rise to projects. If you have any experience in strategic planning, you will recognize these factors. For many of us, customer need is the driving consideration as our customer contracts with us to do the project. Looked at graphically, this is how the various levels relate to each other. Projects in an ideal world should arise from the top down. In the real world, this is not always how it happens. Projects should be aligned with specified business strategies. For effective portfolio management, we need to track benefits and not just cost. Benefits have a tendency to vanish quickly, while cost has a tendency to increase dramatically. Projects should be killed when the cost exceeds the benefits, as a rule, unless mandated. A strategic business plan should be in place. Each business strategy will be supported by a number of projects, new projects and maintenance projects. Similar projects should be grouped into programs. The total cost of programs and projects as well as benefits will be part of an overall portfolio for the specified business strategy. This is also known as enterprise project management. Typically, portfolios will be managed by a project management office, PMO. These are the official definitions of the terms portfolio and portfolio management. Learn to recognize them. When you see a question that mentions strategic objectives or strategic planning, it is a clue that you are discussing portfolio management. This is why organizations are interested in portfolio management. We're talking about real money here. If you have seen a report in your organization which lists all the projects and perhaps shows a colored status indicator, red, yellow, or green, for each project, this report is considered a portfolio report. Such a report gives top management a quick overview of how their strategic initiatives are doing. We are really talking about how organizations choose which projects to pursue. One source is strategic planning to identify key efforts the organization needs to stay competitive in its marketplace. There are a number of other factors in play, but frequently the choice is constrained by financial considerations. Net present value is one way to analyze the financial impact. This is how you calculate net present value. Learn and remember this formula. The discount rate may be determined in a number of ways and is sometimes established by organization policy. The intent is to consider the time value of money when comparing unlike periods of time. Another set of formulas you must learn and remember. The formulas are summarized in a special document called PMP formulas that you can download from exercise files. You must learn all the formulas and be prepared to use them when you take the test. This method tells you how long it takes to get back the value of your investment in the project. While most return measures are better when larger, for this one, the shorter payback period is better. Many organizations are now focused on portfolio analysis, both to ensure that they are picking the right projects to do, as well as tracking their progress, keeping executive management informed about the status of the strategic plan. Portfolio management becomes a component of strategic management of the organization. The key distinguishing phrase in this definition is managed in a coordinated way. When you see that phrase, you are talking about a program. Projects are grouped into programs to coordinate the interaction between the projects in the program. This leads to gaining control and benefits that extend beyond just a single project. Also, a program may include non-project work that is necessary to the success of the program. Usually the project work is subdivided to keep an effort within a reasonable span of control for the manager. So programs, projects, and subprojects may each have their own manager who is responsible for their component. Sometimes it can be difficult to draw lines between programs, projects, and subprojects. The key is they all bear some relationship to a common objective. A project management office is a center of expertise on managing projects and is generally put in place to help management exercise governance over key projects. It is essentially the executor of the corporate strategic projects, overseeing management of those projects. Specific duties can vary widely depending on the particular responsibilities delegated to it by management. Here are some examples of possible functions of the PMO. Virtually all PMO designs include the creation and maintenance of project management methodologies, policies, templates, standards, and so forth. PMOs act as a coach for the project managers. They frequently prepare portfolio reports for executive management. An old joke is that the project manager is the pre-selected scapegoat when the project fails. It can sometimes appear that way, since the project manager is charged with achieving success in the project. The PM is responsible. The project manager is assigned to achieve success, not take the blame for failure. We will look throughout this course at the responsibilities of the project manager and what capabilities that manager must have.